Imagine going to work like any other day, but this time, the only way to get home is by killing your coworkers. Mike is a hard-working man who follows his routine every day. Like usual, he heads to work, but today, something is different. There's extra security checking before anyone can enter the building. Mike works at BELKO Industries, a company that helps hire American workers. He also has a relationship with one of his co-workers, Leandra. However, another creepy man named Wendell loves to stare at Leandra. The hiring manager, Vince, hired a young girl named Danny for the company. She becomes friends with other employees, Leota and Roberto. Danny notices a young, handsome employee named Bradley and develops a crush on him. Another older employee, Peggy, was chatting up with Keith about the office. Meanwhile, Mike noticed that many of the employees were not at the office. He inquired Terry about it. Terry informed him that the guards at the gate sent the local people back home. This information seemed weird to Mike. He called up the security guy, Evan, to inquire about it. Evan informs him that there was some email regarding a security threat. Curious asked about the new security guards, to which Evan was clueless. Just then, the intercom buzzed. It was a robotic voice telling everyone that in 8 hours, most of them would be dead, and the only way to increase their chances of survival was by following the orders that were given to them. Their first task was to murder any of their 2 employees within 30 minutes and kill them with whatever means necessary. There are currently 80 of them in the building. Vince rushes to the intercom speaker but finds no one there. If they fail to do their first task, then they will face repercussions. Barry, the COO of the company, also comes out confused. Some employees start panicking while some think it's some kind of prank and laugh it off. Mike asks everyone to evacuate as he is skeptical about the announcement. As soon as people start evacuating, some hard metal barricades all the doors and windows of the whole building. Frustrated, Wendell starts kicking the metal shield, but nothing happens. Just then, another company employee, the electrician, Bud, with his mate Lonnie. Bud suggests getting through the shield by lightening it by blowtorch. Meanwhile, Terry tried calling for help, but there was no signal. To calm the situation down, Barry, the COO of the company, came forward. He assured everybody that this is a government building and maybe they put the shield as a precautionary measure in case of a military event. He told everybody to relax while he figured out who was behind all this. But Mike didn't believe what Barry said and was still skeptical. Whereas Keith with some other employees went up to the terrace to ask for help from the guards outside. They screamed at the top of their lungs to call for help. The guards hear them and ignore them. Meanwhile, the blowtorch didn't work. Bud was puzzled regarding the material of the shields, as it wasn't even warm from the blowtorch. Back at the terrace, an employee, Marty, says they all signed the agreement to let the company do whatever they want with them. He believes it's some sort of psychological test. But just then, a head explodes. Downstairs as well, people's heads start exploding. Everybody panicked and ran, thinking someone was firing at them. After a few seconds, the exploding stopped. Barry stepped forward and observed one of the dead bodies. The wound isn't from a bullet, but instead, the head exploded from inside. Mike suspects that the company put tracers at the back of their heads when they all started working, and they might have been triggered to explode. This is the reason that the locals were sent back home, as they were not implanted with the tracers. In a panic, he rushed to the office kitchen and grabbed a cutter. He then locks himself in the bathroom and starts slicing his head from behind to get out the tracer. But the intercom buzzed again, warning Mike to stop his action within 10 seconds. As the countdown started, he couldn't get it out, even at the 9th second, so he surrendered. He heads out, and Peggy stitches his head back. Wendell, seeing Leandra alone, tries to flirt with her, but she tells him to get lost. Whereas Terry and Vince investigated the bathroom and found hidden cameras. Meanwhile, fearing for his safety, Barry approaches Evan. He orders Evan to hand him the key to the armory, but Evan can't hand over the keys to anyone as part of his job. He firmly refuses Barry. The air conditioning was also turned off, so Bud and his buddy went to the basement to fix it. Down in the basement, Danny was hiding behind some boxes. Just then, the intercom buzzed again, informing them about how this is real and whether they choose to do anything or not, they will get the desired results. They also warned to not remove the tracers from their head or dismantle any camera, otherwise they will end their lives without any countdown. Their next task is to kill 30 of the employees out of the 76 employees remaining within 2 hours. And if they fail to do so, then they will kill 60 of them. Everybody panics and Wendell rushes to the office kitchen to arm himself. Other employees tried to stop him and ensued in a struggle, whereas Marty triggers the firm alarm thinking it might be connected to the fire department. Barry stopped the fight. Meanwhile, in the basement, Lonnie starts panicking. Bud tries to calm him down, but in an anxious state, he hits Bud with the tool. Due to the forceful impact, Bud died. Danny, scared, mistakenly moved, and it alerted Lonnie. Scared, Danny tried to run, but Lonnie caught her and tried to justify his action. They ensued in a struggle, and Danny pushed him. The push sliced Lonnie's head through nails, killing him. Back at the office, Evan stops the alarm. Everybody gathered, and Barry suggested that they should discuss their options. However, Mike opposed this as he felt whoever was behind this wouldn't stop even after they killed 30 people, and they don't have the right to kill people. Terry believes that they should take the chance if it means saving 60 people. The crowd was divided in 2 groups, one who suggested killing and the other who didn't. Leandra suggests that they should instead make some banners and hang them from the terrace asking for help. Barry rejected the idea as the building was in the middle of nowhere, and the possibility of anyone seeing the banner and calling the cops was impossible. Vince spoke up regarding if Barry suggests killing, then it will turn into a cage match and he and Wendell are special forces trained. This resulted in a heated argument, but Mike stepped in and suggested that they should try the banner idea. The crowd disperses, but Barry, Wendell, and Terry are against the idea and decide to work together. Whereas, Marty loses his mind and thinks someone is drugging their water. He starts spilling the leftover water in an attempt to save everyone. While Mike, Leandra, and Evan were gathering supplies, they noticed the blowtorch was missing. To their horror, Barry with his group was using the torch to light up the armory and use the weapons. Evan tried to stop by pointing a gun at them, but it didn't work. After multiple tries, Mike shot the cylinder of the blowtorch, leaving the tool useless. Then Mike left with his group in the elevator. Leandra was angry at Mike for making enemies like Barry in such a situation. She doesn't want him to be killed, and she believes that when things go wrong, everybody will look out for themselves, even at the expense of others. It's basic human nature. But Mike feels he did the right thing. They begin hanging the banner through the terrace, but the guards see them and start shooting at them. But they kept on going until Keith got shot. The intercom buzzed again and warned them not to continue this or they would be killed. With no other choice, they stopped it. On the stairs, Mike had a breakdown while Leandra consoled him. Mike suspects that the government is doing some sort of human experiment. He questions what if they were only hired for this, as from the past year they have been working, the company never cared about the employees' work. Leandra dismisses it and encourages him to stay strong. As they walk down the stairs with Evan, suddenly Barry attacks Mike and threatens Evan to give them the keys. Mike fell unconscious. With no other option, Evan slams the keys on the floor. Wendell, angered by his action of throwing, pushed the knife through Evan's stomach. Terry condemned his action, but there was nothing he could do. They grabbed Leandra and took her with them. Terry apologized to Evan and left. Evan dies slowly. Now, with keys with them, Barry with his team grabbed the weapons from the armory. They all assembled everyone in the hall. Bradley was also among them. He saw Danny hiding in the basement, but decided to spare her. Meanwhile, Mike gains consciousness and is surprised to see everybody assembled in the hall at gunpoint. Barry then orders everybody over the age of 60 to come forward. Terry suggested to Barry that they can instead write names on paper and do a lottery system. Barry, angered by it, warns him not to undermine his authority. Barry informs everyone that whatever he is doing is to save people's lives and it's the only choice they have. If anyone speaks up, then he will have to put a bullet in his head. Only 7 people were above the age of 60. With no other choice left, Barry starts choosing random people to kill. Mike and Pebby were also among them. Danny hears screaming and starts moving slowly. Barry was having difficulty killing them hearing their screams for help, so he ordered Wendell to play some music. Spanish music plays as Barry gains his composure to shoot the first person. Danny reaches the hall and sees this. She rushes back. Everybody starts screaming in fear while Barry continues his killing spree. Barry, disturbed by the screams, yelled at Wendell to turn up the volume. Mike discreetly asked Terry to hand him over the gun, and he forgives him. But instead, Terry ratted Mike out to Barry. Hearing this, Barry orders Terry to kill Mike. Leandra insists Terry not to do it, but Terry points the gun at Mike to shoot. Just as he was about to shoot, Danny shut down the power from the basement. In the utter darkness, chaos ensues as everybody runs for their lives. Some got in the elevator while some ran up the stairs. One elevator opened up in the basement, and Roberto was in it. He saw Danny and asked her to hop in. Danny got inside. To hide, Roberto and Danny climbed up the elevator. But the killing spree continued. As a guy was about to kill Peggy, Mike attacked him from behind and Peggy grabbed the knife on him and killed him. Barry ordered Wendell and Terry to kill as many people as possible, as now it's not possible to keep the counting. Leandra hides in a room but hears someone coming. She unscrewed a cutter and hid behind a desk. Terry, with a gun in his hand, follows the sound to kill the hidden person, whereas Barry was desperately in search of people to kill. Just then, an announcement was made that they had killed a total of 29 people and had 2 minutes remaining to complete their second task. Back in the room, Terry sees a pair of lady shoes and follows it, but Leandra attacks him from behind. Terry begged for his life and apologized to her. He said that he was just scared and did whatever Barry told him to do. Despite being angry at him, Leandra spares his life. Terry cried seeing her kindness. Just then, the intercom buzzed again and informed them that they had failed to fulfill their task. Now 31 more employees will be killed. Barry screams in anger listening to this. As Leandra hears this, Terry's head blasts in front of her. The head popping continued while everybody prayed that they were spared. Unfortunately, Peggy was also killed right in front of Mike. This continued till 31 more of them were dead. The surviving ones were left in an utter state of hopelessness. The intercom buzzed again and informed them, now comes the last stage. In this stage, whoever gets the highest kill within 1 hour will get to live. Currently, Barry has 11 kills, Wendell has 7 kills, and Danny has 1 kill. Hearing this, Vince was also forced to kill to survive. Barry also continued his spree when a female employee was there. She begs Barry to spare her life and starts offering herself to him in return. Barry came closer to her and snapped her neck, commenting on never to waste a bullet. He then gets in the elevator above which Roberto and Danny were hiding. As the elevator moved up, Roberto and Danny suspected he might be going to the top floor as his office was there. Barry overhears them and shoots at them. Danny got off the elevator to the wall and stood there. The elevator kept moving up, and Roberto, with no option, tried to jump from it, but was caught in between the elevator and the wall. His body was crushed, and the elevator stopped. Realizing that the elevator is jammed, Barry freaks out on missing out killing the people. Leandra finds Marty and his friend gathering unexploded trackers from the heads of people who died by other means. They plan to use these trackers to blow up the wall, and Leandra thinks it's a good idea. She uses another intercom to inform Mike, who is hiding in a locked office, that she needs him and is on the first floor. Mike decides to help Leandra. Leandra then encounters Wendell, who is brutally killing an employee. After months of enduring his harassment, she kills him. Sadly, Marty and his friend are shot while trying to help her. Leandra grabs an axe and kills Wendell in a violent fight. When Mike and Leandra reunite, she shows him the explosives Marty had gathered. Suddenly, a woman is set on fire by Vince. Mike and Leandra flee, but Leandra is shot in the process. Meanwhile, Barry kills Vince and Danny to keep his body count high. As Leandra is dying, she tells Mike she loves him. This triggers Mike's rage, leading him into a fierce battle with Barry. Although Barry initially overpowers Mike, Mike eventually gains the upper hand and kills Barry in a brutal fight. Now the last one standing, Mike is declared the winner, and 2 guards take him out of the building. Barely holding on, Mike is brought to a hangar, where he meets the voice behind the experiment. The man reveals that they are part of an international organization studying human behavior without restrictions. As they begin to interview Mike about his emotional and mental state after the ordeal, Mike notices a panel of switches connected to the trackers. He reveals that he planted the trackers Marty had collected on the guards and the voice, meaning they could be detonated, quickly flips all the switches except his own, causing the trackers to explode, killing the guards and wounding the voice. Mike then grabs a gun and kills the remaining scientists, ignoring the voice's attempt to appeal to his morals. Afterwards, in shock but somewhat relieved, he leaves the hangar. However, as he steps outside, multiple monitors reveal that the same experiment is happening in other buildings, with many survivors like Mike being watched. A new voice announces, "End Stage 1, commence Stage 2, signaling that the nightmare is far from over and something even worse is about to begin. This is Buff Recap. Stay safe and enjoy your day.